For this last video, we won't spend too much time actually adjusting code, but rather discuss the concept of code refactoring in general. Gitpod includes some linting utilities, which will act as a sort of spell checker for our code, and we saw this in the very early videos when we talked about how to fix things in the Problems tab. One caveat to this is that the Problems tab will only check files that are open, so when we're finished with our project and would rather do a final run through the code to see all the problems across all our files, this is somewhat annoying since we have to open every file to check it for problems. Instead, we can invoke the linter manually by using the command python3-m Flake8, which will output all the issues to the terminal. After running that command, you'll see it returns a nice list of all the issues in the code, so we can go through them one by one. If I hold Control and click on the individual files, it will take me right to that line where the issue is. Taking this first one, for example, it's just telling us that the line is too long, and we should reformat our code to make it less than 79 characters. This is just a style convention, and an easy way to fix the problem with imports is to wrap them in parentheses so we can move them down to the next line. There are similar solutions for other lines that are too long, and usually it will involve shifting some of your code around and just playing with the indentation a bit. As you can see, the majority of the issues in our code are lines that are too long, so I won't bother going through all of these to fix them. It's up to you whether you want to spend the time doing this for this project, but you should keep these style rules in mind when you're submitting your own projects for assessment, because code style does have an impact on your score, and you should make sure that there are no linting issues in any files you've created yourself. On that note, I'm ignoring any warnings on files that are automatically generated, such as migrations, since automatically generated files may intentionally ignore style rules for efficiency reasons, and because as developers, we usually don't need to touch them, so they don't need to be perfectly readable. Another common issue we're seeing here is imports that are unused. This is because, for example, in the Home app, Django created a models.py for us, but we never used it since that app has no models. Some developers prefer to just delete these files if they're not being used to get rid of the warnings. If you see a warning like this in a file you are using, you should just remove the import since you're not using it anyway. In general, most of the issues in this project seem to be code style issues, which of course we should fix, but ultimately they're not critical to the functionality of our project. So you can feel free to choose whether to fix them as long as you ensure these types of warnings don't show up in any projects you submit for assessment. This wraps up the last video in this series, and with that, I hope you've enjoyed learning about the power of Django together. The reality is that while this project is quite involved, we've really only just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible. As you advance in your full-stack development career, I encourage you to continue learning and taking on new projects. Whether you create your own, follow tutorials on YouTube, take on additional formal education, or even contribute to Django itself as an open-source developer, keep learning, read the documentation, stay involved in the development community, and most of all, enjoy the process.